Carlton by a point. We're back in the middle. Trent Bath got the better of that. Cripps takes his handball straight to LDU. He explodes away with one bounce in a second. He runs inside the 50. Handball to Sheezel. Handball to Luke Davies-Uniacke. Finishing off. He goes for goal. And it's not quite marked on the line. Play on is the call. Cowan will try and get it forward. Holland's Ollie. He wants to knock it. It's going to be Simpkin to win it back though. Handball to Sheezel. He sells the dummy. He goes for goal. Harry Sheezel, if you don't mind. Roos are in front. Roos are in front on Good Friday. A Star 21 goal of the day. And a special goal too to Harry Sheezel. And the Kangas fans are going bananas.
What a crazy game this is. It's now the game flips grip, it swaps. So now the Blues are behind. What can they do with their ball movement? Now the shackles are free. You have to win the game now. Reverse that. What do the Kangas do here? Do they shut up shop? We're in for an incredible last 3 minutes here.
Yeah, I hope North keeps doing what they're doing. I'll never forget that Collingwood grand final where they went up and they looked at the sign and Craig McRae said, you're 3 points up. Let's go again. Let's go 9 points up against Brisbane in that winning grand final. That's what they have to do. I can't believe the way Carlton's played this last quarter. Got to go again here, North.
6-3 to 2 straight. Carlton fans have lived this nightmare before. Are they going to wake up and turn it into a fairy tale? Big clearance to be won. Wardlaw stumbled, fumbled, couldn't pick it up. McKirch has got it. Carlton players have got him. Umpire's seen enough. We're going to have a secondary throw up this time. 10 to 15 metres closer to the Carlton goal. Still 3 1/4 minutes of playing time remaining. An absolute eternity. Pitnet takes it straight out of the ruck. Wild handball socket forward by Florent. Into the path of McGovern. Handballs to Jagger Smith. Back to McGovern. Hooks it across his shoulder. First inside 50 in an age for Carlton. Mark dropped by Comben under pressure. Stacks on the mill. Umpire Fisher's seen enough. And he'll throw it up 20 metres out from the Blues goal. Directly in front. North by 5 points.
They need a goal, Carlton. The umpire throws it up in the air. Both ruckmen go to the ground. There's no whistle. Mackay scrambles a kick and heads to the boundary line and rolls out. And a throw in left forward pocket for Carlton.
North's just up in the contest at the moment. They're +5 clearance this quarter, +11 in contested possessions. They're just beating them around the ball.
This is big. Stoppage deep inside 50 Blues. Left forward pocket. We have a throw in. In it comes. Pitnet is able to pat that one down. No one at his feet. Parker is able to take it. Tackled. He got a handball away. Chance for the Blues. Evans. He's tackled by O'Sullivan.
Too high.
Too high. Free kick. He's going to go the way of Carlton. And it's going to be Francis Evans after a too high call. Harvey Norman replay. Good call.
Yep. Yeah, it was there. Yep, definitely.
He did drop at the knees a little bit, but it was high contact. So this is big for little Frankie Evans. This is so big. All eyes on him. Fans on the edge of their seats. Can he do it from the set shot? He's going to come in from 48 metres. Francis Evans, pressure on. He's missed. He's missed to the left-hand side. And the margin now is 4 in favour of North Melbourne.
And hard for North to hold on for 2 minutes 14. So that's how long there is to go. So there's a blood rule. So they've got a bit of a break in play here as someone comes towards Jackie Reid. But North can't be this safe for 2 minutes. They've still got to try and get it to their end.
Luke McDonald coming off here. Very slowly, I might add.
And Jordan Boyd screaming for Carroll to get off for another rotation. Core jogs onto the ground. McDonald, well, he's taking a couple of little low fives and he's having a look around, a bit of a wander. And he's still not yet off the field of play. So the clock stops, 2:13 remaining on the white glove mover timepiece. North Melbourne have come from 22 points down at three-quarter time to be leading by 4 points with 133 ticks of the white glove mover clock remaining. Parker steps back into play and then roosts a high 60-metre drop punt. Off hands, no mark taken. Ollie Hollands with a handball to the comeback kid in Newman. Helicopters one towards centre half forward. Again, no mark taken. Elijah Hollands storms through. Frankie Evans has his kick smothered. Curtis couldn't pick up the football. Chera, was he tripped? Umpire said no. Ollie Holland's tackled by 3 roos. We'll have a stoppage, 40 out from the Carlton goal, and we're down to a minute 52.
All hands on deck at the moment. Umpire throws it up in the air. Comes down to LDU, was able to get the kick away. Could be a free kick there to the Blues, nothing doing. And then Dirksen kicked as he was tackled. It goes out in the full free kick, North Melbourne. Good pressure being applied there by Darling.
Blues got a man up here. Make sure there's no extra marks here. This ball has to go long down the line.
Stevens with the football. He's going to go long down the line. Kicks to a pack situation. It's off hands. And Dirksen's wrapped up. And they want a stoppage here, North Melbourne. They'll get their wish. They'll have it on the dockside wing.
Zerha behind the ball was their +1, so they've rolled one around.
4-point margin in favour of the Kangaroos. Umpire just sets himself, clears the path, throws it up in the air. Pitnet wins it down. Cripps is able to soccer it off the ground. Francis Evans to Jagger Smith to Mackay. He's too far out. He's going to turn and go. Kick it inside the 50. Smacked away. Haywood is able to gather. Haywood's kick was blanketed beautifully by Stevens over the boundary line. And we're going to have a throw in 35 metres around from Carlton's goal, with the margin still sitting at 4 in favour of North Melbourne.
Bit technical, could have been a 50 against George Wardlaw, who's just wandering through and then double back to try the smother on the Mackay kick. Ball spinning back into play. Pitnet, brilliant tap to Cripps, but he's mown down immediately. Ball's the cry. Umpires put the whistle away. Quick forward by Darling. Dirksen, the debutant, sits underneath it. Sandwiched by a couple of roos in Larkey and Trembath. We're down to a minute exactly remaining. Jagger Smith, big tackle by Trembath. Ball spills free to Dersma. Banana kicks it towards left half forward. Foot race on. Boyd will get there first, needs to be composed. Centering kick, terrible. Curtis takes the mark. Curtis kicks out in favour of Dersma. Will it sit for him? He'll allow Simpkin to get it. Who toe pokes it through? The ex-captain toe pokes it through, and a good Friday for North Melbourne becomes a great Friday, because we're down to 28 seconds remaining, and the Roos lead it by 10 points, 14-12-96 to 13-8-86. They've come from the clouds with 7 last quarter goals, all on the Tyre Power scoreboard.
Can't believe it. Absolutely can't believe it. So what Carlton have done the last 4 minutes is they've taken the game on and taken some risks, which they didn't for the previous 15, which gave North a chance. So,
super aggressive kick by Jordan Boyd, but this is what happens at the end of the game. You've got to take that risk. But it's a turnover goal and basically the game.
Well, North Melbourne are going to win it on Good Friday. We're back in the middle. Siren is not too far away. Coleman Jones to O'Sullivan. Long kick inside the 50. No mark. Larkey can't take it. We're going to try and clear it here. It won't matter though. It's going to be a North Melbourne win. Darling with a big bone crunching tackle. Umpire will have it and pull it up. Siren is about to sound. It's happened again to Carlton. Ball up. Comes down to Darling. Quick kick forward. Blues clear it. Elijah Hollands out to the wing. He goes. Siren! Kangas have won it. The Carlton fans, a familiar feeling of hello darkness, my old friend, as we get a snap reaction from Matthew Lloyd and Sam Docherty on what we've just witnessed in this final quarter. Sam, we'll start with you.
It's a similar tale. The game was there to be won, and they got beaten heavily in the contest and clearance. That's ultimately how it started, Lloydie, and then just the inability to play what the game needed in that last quarter. Whether it's risk or just ball movement, and make sure you keep the uncontested marks, keep the game out of that situation. Carlton just put it back in a contest too many times in that last quarter and long down the lines, and then just lost them off the back of it. And full credit has to go to North Melbourne. They did everything you needed to do in the back end of a game. When you need a win, they took risks, they were bold, they won contest, they won clearance. Exactly what you need to do in that last quarter to win the game of footy is what they did.
Yeah, I just thought that, we touched on it, Matty, like at that stage where it was just safe. There was no run, there was no carry. I know Doc was talking about as long as you take it forward. But I just felt that it played in North's hands because eventually they had to kick down the line and North just had to go for it. And I thought North played a far better game when they were 4 goals down or 21 points down because they were more direct. They got run, they got overlap, and then in the end it was 18-8 entries in the last quarter, 10 scoring shots from those 18. You just felt like there was too long left to go with the way Carlton were playing, and North were bolder. Wiedering goes off, they were vulnerable back there, and then they, I think like they do every week, they just stop. What gets them in that position, they don't keep doing.
Well, Lloyd, the most damning stat of all, it took North Melbourne 3 quarters to kick 7 goals 9, and then they kicked 7 goals 3 in the last 20 minutes. And
I thought their pressure, like some of Wardlaw's stuff, he played one of the more great games that I've seen with a bloke who hardly touches. He only had 4 in the last quarter, but he's heroic with some of his chases and tackles. And I thought, some of Davies Uniacke and Sheezel and these guys, they were huge. Trembath's last quarter, kicked 3 goals. And then you had some of Combin's tackle, but with Pitnet in the ruck, they should have won this game. They used Pitnet's advantage and then took the game on. They should have won that. It's just, I wasn't here at last week's one, but to see it live and the way they shut down and shut up shop and didn't score, they just left themselves open to be beaten.
So the Kangaroos improved to 3-1 heading into gather round. They do have the reigning premiers in the Barossa next Saturday afternoon. But it is grave now for the Blues. They slipped to 1-3. They will start gather round the first game Thursday night against the Adelaide Crows at a chock-a-block Adelaide Oval. They'll be long odds to cause the upset there. Then they face Collingwood on a Thursday night at the G, followed by a trip to Perth to take on the red-hot Fremantle Dockers. So the season, as early as it is, fast slipping away from Carlton, who are now 1-3. Their only victory, that 4-point triumph, staggering over the line against the Tigers. Final score 14-12-96 to 13-8-86. As we just said, 7 goals 3 to 2 goals 1 in the final term. The Kangas kicking 7 goals in the first 3 quarters and then piling on another 7 in the final term. Goal kickers for the winners, Zane Dersma for the second week in a row, kicked 3 majors. Could have finished with a handful, kicked 3-2, including a post-up. 3 goals to Cooper Trembath, 3 straight in fact, 2 of them coming in the final quarter. 2 each to Nick Larkey and Paul Curtis, and singles to Sheezel Simpkin with the match sealer. Also Jack Darling and Cam Zurhar also kicked an important goal in the final term for the Blues. Brodie Kemp, also like Zane Dersma, could have finished with a handful. 3 goals 2, both his misses were posters. And a couple each to Harry Mackay and Mitch McGovern. Also Mark Pitnet, 2 first half goals. Singles to Jagger Smith, Sam Walsh, Elijah Hollins and Nic Newman. A crowd of 45,919. And finally we get a gripping and dramatic Good Friday super clash.
Yeah, it was some game of footy, that's for sure. I had all of it in it. It had the momentum swings. Both teams had the game on their terms at different stages, and I think full credit has to go to the Roos. The Carlton don't get beaten in that contested possession stat very often, and the Roos have done them +9 there. So they came with a fight and they came with the grit and determination in the contest, which is how you beat Carlton in the start. But as we've spoken about for a lot of the last quarter, just their ability to stick to what they needed to do in that last quarter was super impressive, and to be able to take the risks that were required, were clean enough to do so, and to finish off the back of it, I think full commending has to go to them.
The callers are banking up on the Nick Theodosi open line, 133 693, and James, you have the new ball.
How are you guys?
We're well.
Oh, I'm not. I'm in. I live in South Australia, and I'm nearly 60, and I've followed the Blues since I was about 5 years old, and we're a disgrace. I'm lost for words. I really am. It's the same movie every week. And I watched this game, and I thought at the start of the last quarter, I'm thinking, I know exactly what's going to happen here. And surprise, surprise, that's exactly what happened. So we play Collingwood, Freo and Adelaide in the next 3 games. So we're going to be 1-6. So I don't know if you guys have got any answers, because my God.
Maybe we'll start before Muzzer in response to a disappointed James calling in from Adelaide.
Sorry.
Oh, well, I guess the next callers are probably going to be along the same line. So it's a long time ago since James made his feelings known. Muzzer, go ahead.
Yeah, g'day, boys. Number 1, I'm really annoyed because it cost me a tip. Number 2, I've got a mate who's an avid Blues supporter, two mates. One of them's absolutely filthy. He picked the Roos, think he might put the mock on them to get the Blues up. But anyway, if Carlton, they are mentally and physically inept and deficient in every way, shape and form. They don't have the heart, the ticket, the endeavour, the determination to run games out. I mean, if I was the coach, I would have done like John Tobber did back in the day. I'd say, boys, that's the most T1SS performance I've ever seen. Go out on the ground. I want you to run laps and embarrass yourselves in front of the fans. That's what they need, boys. It's an absolute disgrace. They're just not good enough, can't run games out, and they're going to get beat by the Crows next week as well. Thanks, boys.
Thanks, Muzzer. Would you care to respond to that?
I was going to ask one more at the end, but so I threw you a hospital handball at the end because I think I'd asked enough there, but I was just saying you spoke about, you didn't really have the answers there because you don't sometimes when you're a player out there, but was it personnel? Is it method? Was it a combination of both? Because they just see saying they were coming at them and we just couldn't get the ball out.
Yeah, I think there's elements. I think everyone in the club needs to take some responsibility of what the performance is out there. It doesn't lie on the coach. It doesn't lie on just the players. I think it's everyone in together. But some of what I was saying before around Newey was kind of regurgitating the same thing. That the problem is that in that last quarter when they have to kick long down the line, if they don't explore marks, then they're living in contest land. And you just... It's a hard place to live and consistently go well, especially late in games. If you kick long to contest all the time, you're not going to win them all. So exactly what happened tonight, that when you slightly stuff something up and you don't get it out of bounds or whatnot, then it's a repeat straight in. You look at the best teams in the comp, and I'm going to allude to over the last few years in scenarios, Collingwood's one of the absolute best, Brisbane the same, that they have an ability to be able to control the game, and that's where Carlton falls well short.
In different ways,
yeah. In different ways. But if they're up, we're not saying, Collingwood's moving the ball so slow, but they're exploring the ground. They're taking kick marks. They're taking 30 to 40 uncontested marks in the last quarter. Carlton had 12, and they were up for most of the last quarter. That's just putting the game back into a 50-50 arm wrestle, and when you're getting beaten in the contest and the other team's taking risks, then you're always going to get run down.
Thanks, Muzzer. You could hear the disappointment and frustration in your voice. Peter, good evening to you.
What an absolute disgrace. What an absolute disgrace. I've been a supporter for over 40 years. 40 years, mate. And the same thing every week in, week out. Total rubbish. It's absolute joke. Who runs the football club? You know who runs the football club? The supporters, the members. They're the ones that run the club. And what are they dishing out? Rubbish. Absolute rubbish. They all should be ashamed of themselves.
Okay, Peter, thanks for your call.
And the hard part is, Beaver, it's round 4. So it's not as if it's round 18 and you go, okay, we've just got to get to see this out for the next...
And then
reset. This is round 4 and the way they're losing and the same way week in and week out, and now it's only going to get harder. Some go, where's Carlton's next win coming from? Well, they play the Bombers in about at round 12 or 13, so it's hard to see where a win's coming from now, which just makes it, they're hard years. I had a year where we won 5 in, I think it was 2006, and it was the worst year of my football life. I was injured for a lot of it, but just trying to get the morale up week after week and try and find ways to pick people back up again. It's just awful.
It's not fun to come to work.
It's terrible. And Carlton, I don't know, Michael Voss is getting himself out of bed of a morning and you get a hope by Wednesday. You start to have hope again. Okay, this week will be different. And then for that, I saw him trudge off with a security guard at the end of it. And I was just thinking, how does he try and get his players up? Because he'll need someone trying to get him up. That's probably what Adam Simpson, who's in the box next to us, his job is right now at the moment. You see, he was just as despondent as anyone because he's in it now as well.
Peter, thanks for your call. 133 693, the Nick Theodosi Prestige Car open line. Ken, good evening to you.
Hey, guys. Look, I really feel sorry for Voss. I really do. Unfortunately, sometimes champion players and good blokes don't make a good coach. And he's in that boat at the moment. But you also got to have a look at some of these players. It's not only Vossi. Unfortunately, he's the coach, and everyone goes to the top and get rid of him. But some of these players have got to look at themselves as well and take a hard look at themselves and think, what are we doing wrong? There's half a dozen players at least that I can name who haven't stepped up to the mark in the last 3 or 4 games, and late last year as well. It's not all about the coach; it's the players as well. They've got to step up and support the coach. And unfortunately, Michael Voss is going to wear this again, and he's probably going to be in deep trouble actually.
Yeah, well, I at the moment, I don't think he can. I'm interested in your thoughts on this, Lloydie, but I just don't think you can make a move on a coach at this time of the year. I just think it'd be a really, really poor decision, and to back him in over the back end of last year. They didn't back him in fully and give him an extension, but they backed him in to see out this year of footy, and then to go 4 games into after changing pretty much most of the assistant coaches, new GM of footy, a bunch of list changes, and we're four games into a season. I think it'd be a really hasty call to be able to do that. I think you've got to let it ride out and see what happens over the next little period, and then make the decisions there. But I really back in Graham Wright. I'm not sure on your thoughts, Lloydie, but Graham Wright's a great operator, and I'm assuming he'll be doing the due diligence.
Just before Lloydie responds, Doc, I mean, back in the day, across all clubs, there was a litany of coaches replaced in the first month of the season, but we're talking 30, 40, 50 years ago. But twice in the last 11 years, Carlton have made a move on the coach during the season. 2019, David Teague replaced Brendan Bolton, and 2015, Mick Malthouse, the last coaching appointment of his long record-breaking career, John Barker stepped in for the rest of the season. So there is recent history there where the Blues have done it. Admittedly, it's a completely different hierarchy now at the pointy end of the club.
Yeah, and I was at the club for both of those, and the one I'm saying now is not a good time. And Mick was moved in maybe around 6 or 7, and the kind of sugar hit of the caretaker coach taking over has a lifespan, but I remember by about round 14 or 15 that year was absolutely hell. Just like the direction of the club, where you're going, what you're doing, was really tough. So I think, as the Blues hierarchy, whether they listen to me or not, probably not, but I think it'd be a silly move to be making moves this early in the year. I think you just got to ride it out. There's going to be a lot of pressure on the club, and I think everyone knows that, players, coaches and alike.
Let's get down to the Carlton rooms, where Julian Marcus is standing alongside the comeback kid. It was a positive for the Blues today. Nic Newman back into the side after well over a year off, and he's with Julian Marcus.
Yeah, thanks, Beaver. Nick, we'll start with the positive. You get back to playing AFL football after such a long period away, and you get to kick a goal. Take us through that moment.
Yeah, mate, it's hard to sort of appreciate that at the moment. Yeah, no doubt tomorrow, after a sleep and some time with the little one, I'll probably reflect and have a bit more appreciation about how good it was to be back. And yeah, I mean, I love being back on the footy field after a year and a half off. So yeah, it's just a little bit hard to sort of appreciate that right now.
Well, the $64,000 question, it's a recurring theme. Why do you feel, from what you've seen both off the field and now being part of it today, what do you think is going wrong in those final moments in the second half of games in the final quarter today?
I felt like today was a little bit different. I felt like we played some really good footy in the second half. I feel like last week we really went away from our game style and how we want to play for most of the second half, whereas I thought today, that third quarter, we played some really good footy, and then even late, we had some opportunities. So, yeah, I know it feels like it's a similar story, but without watching it back, I do feel like there were a little bit more positives in the second half this week. So, mate, we're just going to have to get to work. I mean, yeah, clearly we had some opportunities, and yeah, we played some good footy in the third, but there were some patches in the fourth that we'll definitely review and look at. And yeah, we've just got to go to work and get better at it.
Newey at Stock up here. Hard watch in the last quarter. I agree with you in that third quarter. Some really positive signs in terms of the ball movement for the club. The hard thing, and it's probably a frustration for you as well, is that really dried up in the last quarter. Can you put your finger on why that happened?
Oh, fuck. I mean, yeah, not right now, mate. I think, yeah, we probably kicked it long a bit too much, but credit to them. They defended the ground pretty well. So, yeah, I mean, we've got to keep looking at ways to move the ball in the last quarter when we're tired and the game's on the line. But yeah, to their credit, they defended very well in that last quarter and forced us to kick down the line. So, yeah, it's hard right now to sort of sit back and think too much about X's and O's and game style. There's a fair bit of disappointment right now. So, yeah, we'll look at it throughout the week.
Hey Nick, how does Michael Voss bring himself to speak to you guys when it's that recurring theme? You know, he's had to front up a number of times this year and try and probably give you guys answers. Did he say a few words to you in the rooms after the game about where he believed it went wrong?
He spoke to us after the game, mate. He's an incredible leader. He fronts up like good leaders do, and like as I said, like there's a strong air of disappointment and frustration, but he was a similar vein as what I said before. Is that we played some good footy in the second half. Like they're a quality outfit. They got some very good talent, and their mids got going. And as I said, Voss was pretty. He was pretty calm and measured about the game, and felt like we played some good footy in the third, as I said, and it was just some moments late. I feel like it wasn't the sort of same issues as last week, but it was more around some moments that we didn't own. So we've got to work on that.
Nick, just from my view, like I know you're saying you played good footy. Yeah, the third quarter was good, but the last quarter was 18 entries to 8. They had 500 more metres gained than you guys. I just thought you went totally too safe, and then you were sitting ducks for most of that last quarter because they were coming. They were overlap, linking up, and you guys would just get the ball back and tip backwards and sideways. So did you feel that out on the ground?
Yeah, you can feel it when a team's got a bit of momentum, and they've sort of got you pinned in the back half. And it's one of the hardest things in footy is to be able to generate ball movement and get it out of your back half. And they did a good job defending, and at times you've just got to go down the line and win some contests, and we probably didn't do that. We weren't able to get the ball out of bounds. We weren't able to probably hold the ball in and get a repeat stoppage, 70, 80 metres out from our back half. We sort of let the ball bubble out and they got it back in. So, it's hard when you feel like you're defending multiple entries. You're using probably a fair few tickets on defence, and then that hurts you going the other way. So, we'll get to work on some of those moments and contests and being able to potentially get the ball out of bounds or hold it in and get a repeat stoppage so we can reset the ground. But as I said, we'll have a look at it throughout the week. It's a bit raw right now, and it's a bit hard to sort of take in the X's and O's and the way the game went.
Nick, thanks for being a good sport and coming on a really tough day at the office. Great to see you back out there, and good luck for the rest of the season. Big one against the Crows to kick off Gather Round next Thursday night. Lick the wounds, and we'll see you in Adelaide.
Yeah, thanks guys. Cheers.